Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're going to be doing another gaming news video. We've been talking a lot about new games that have been announced recently, and I guess it seems like there's sort of been a rush of games that have been announced. And there's another one that was just announced a couple of days ago that I wanted to talk about, and that is a game called Radio Commander Pacific Campaign. It is being developed by Squadron Studio. I believe this is their first game they've ever developed, and it is being published by Games Operators, which Games Operators is a subsidiary of Playway. Playway does a lot of weird things with their ownership structure, where they have like a dozen different publishers that are all Playway publishers, but they don't brand them as Playway. They brand them as something different, which is, I don't know. There's this whole weird, like, they've got multiple publicly owned stock companies that are out there in Poland. Like, it's a very convoluted and confusing way of running a gaming company. But Playway, the folks who are probably most well known for U-Boat. They also were Games Operators, who's owned by Playway, did the first game in this series, published the first game in this series called Radio Commander. So this is Radio Commander Pacific Campaign, but I guess it's kind of a sequel to Radio Commander, or at least in the same series of games. Now, Radio Commander was a game that looked at Vietnam, and it was pretty innovative for the time. So Radio Commander and Radio General both came out around the same time. Radio Commander came out first, and this was a game where basically you were given a map in Vietnam of sort of a patrol area or whatnot. You would hear your soldiers report back to your fire base, which is where you were located, and give you information about what was going on. You then, being in the fire base, I guess you're like technically the company commander or something like that. You, back being at the fire base, would communicate with your soldiers in the front line. They would tell you what's going on. You would order them to different spots on the map. You would call in artillery support based on what they're telling you. It wasn't like a real way that operations would be managed. You'd probably have a forward observer who would communicate directly with the artillery batteries, as opposed to like the lieutenant communicating to you in the fire base and then you telling the artillery where to fire. I don't know. It wasn't like a super realistic way to play, but it was a very interesting game style, because what it did was it changed the way that war games normally work. Normally you are either looking at a hex map where you kind of see and click and tell units to do with what to do with almost perfect information about your own side, at least, or you can see things unfold from a sort of a God's eye perspective and issue the orders directly to your soldiers. Whereas in this game, you had to interpret what was being told to you in audio form and then issue orders on a map that was entirely subject to you understanding what you were being told. And so it was this element of limited information. You couldn't see the enemy. You had to trust what was going on based on what your soldiers were telling you. Radio General did a similar thing. Radio Commander looked at the Vietnam War. Radio General looked at World War II, where you were commanding some Canadian forces through historical campaigns. But they both sort of had this concept of limited information, heavy fog of war, and trying to decipher what's being told to you. And I think that's an interesting element that doesn't get looked at in games a lot. Like, yes, while there might not be this specific role sitting back on the firebase, the idea of a forward observer communicating with artillery batteries, communicating with, you know, if you're a forward air operator, you might be communicating with an air observer, or a close air support as they come in, or whatnot. And so this idea of being restricted on what you can see and what you can do based on what you're hearing, like, I think it does speak to this real element of fog of war, of commanders back on bases, especially in modern war, only having a picture of what's going on based on what they're hearing, because they physically are not there and can't see, and then they have to make command decisions based on that. So I think it was an interesting concept. I played a little bit of Radio Commander on the channel. You're looking at some of the footage here in front of you from it. I liked the concept. I Radio Commander took a very heavy narrative focus. It felt to me, and the developers are not American. It felt to me like they read a single book about Vietnam. They probably watched the movie Platoon, and then they decided, now we're going to tell the story of Vietnam. I think there were some problems in the narrative of the story. There was probably way too much chit chat for any kind of realistic radio discipline. And I thought it was a little ham-fisted in the narrative. I love the concept. I didn't love the execution. I liked the game Radio General a little bit better, like I said. Now, Radio Commander is being developed by a new developer. So Squadron Studio. So these are not the individuals who did Radio Commander Vietnam. These are the folks doing Radio Commander Pacific Campaign. And it also looks like it's going to be kind of branching out a little bit. So instead of it just being like one map of a specific battlefield that you're currently fighting on and you're issuing tactical orders, there appears to be kind of an operational level or a strategic level map where you have to tell your ships or your units to move around on a strategic map. And then when they collide and fight tactical battles, then you'll be issuing orders at the tactical level. So there's a strategic and there's a tactical level. I think that is interesting. I wonder at what point you lose the radio-ness of it, if that makes sense, right? Like if you're a strategic commander issuing orders to fleets on where they should go or where they should bomb, I don't know how much lack of information because you're talking on a radio matters. Additionally, if you're a tactical battle commander, I don't really know, like you probably shouldn't be issuing radio orders to your dive bombers that are out looking for the Japanese at Midway. I don't know, I guess the Radio Commander model could work in a island campaign, and they show some gifs, if you will, of Iwo Jima, I believe it is, in the game. So like the traditional Radio Commander model could work for the tactical battles, although the scale is going to be wonky if you're talking like full battles the side of Iwo Jima. But I don't know how the naval battles will work. Like you could issue commands via radio, I suppose, to other ships on a task force and a surface engagement. Like that might feel right. But in terms of airstrikes underway, I don't know. I mean, I guess, it's not going to be super historically accurate. Will it be a fun game? Who knows? I guess we'll see what comes of it. In terms of the features that they've said, again, 2 levels of command, strategic command and tactical battle commander. As a strategic commander from your spacious war room, you'll send orders throughout the entire theater of operations. As a tactical battle commander, you will try to win battles commanding from a cramped cabin on your flagship. So 2 very different modes. And it looks like the strategic element is like a map of the whole Pacific. So I'm always up for a new Pacific war game. I'm curious to see again how that'll play out with this particular concept. But hey, I'm a sucker for the Pacific theater, so bring it on. Apparently, there's also a chief of staff that's there to assist you with situational awareness. They're not going to replace you in the commander role. All your direct orders will go through him, and he'll be responsible for informing you about the outcome of your actions. So that's a pretty big departure. I don't know if it means you're not actually on the radio. I don't know how it could be Radio Commander if you're not. You have to face the enemy at sea or on land in naval battles. You'll be in charge of aircraft carriers and aviation. You'll have scouting, bomber, and torpedo and fighter squadrons under your command. On your road to victory, you'll have to land on atolls and islands. The enemy will not be waiting for you with flowers. He's a tough competitor. If you see a dream landing spot, so does the enemy, but sometimes there's no way out. Voice of real soldiers. We've taken great care to make you feel like a real commander in the game. That's why radio voices you'll hear will be those of soldiers and officers from many countries of the world. These people most often have gone through the fire of battle in various theaters of war in recent years. So it sounds like they're going to be paying some voice actors who are veterans to maybe lend some authenticity to the radio chatter, I guess, maybe. It does sound like, I'm guessing the element of narration from the original Radio Commander, maybe toned down. There's nothing here about like story, dialogue. You know, I think in the original Radio Commander, there's this story of a African American soldier who's kind of writing home to his relative who's in the midst of the race riots back in the U.S. while, you know, his brother's in the thick of it in Vietnam. And so there's all these social tension elements, you know, with the commander of his platoon, who's white, and sort of some back and forth dialogue there. Again, very platoony in terms of some of the stuff going on, or maybe a little bit of Apocalypse Now. I don't think there's going to be any of that in this based on what we've seen here. It says they have some real historical quotes and phrases in the game. You can hear them on the radio, read them in reports. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's all the information we really have. The trailer is pretty limited. There's a couple of screenshots, which I'm guessing are just mock-ups of what it could look like, because the trailer is literally just World War II footage. There's no indication of any gameplay underway. So I suspect this is still a ways out. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how they evolve this series. If they go more the Radio General route, which that game stayed away from the narrative and focused more on the tactical battles. Based on what I see here, I feel like maybe that's the direction they're going to go, but it's still so early. We haven't seen any gameplay. It's all just World War II footage. It's, you know, all just World War II footage in the trailer. So this feels really early on. I hope it succeeds. I'm curious. I'd like to see your guys' thoughts in the chat below. Again, it's a different way of doing war games, and I'm always appreciative of folks who are willing to try something new and to kind of stick their neck out a little bit. And I think that's exciting to see. But we'll see. Playway, again, they own game operators. They tend to sometimes get out ahead of themselves with some of these games, where they announce things and then refine the game based on initial feedback. So I am curious, like, how much of this is real, or how much of this is just like a concept of, we're going to show you some mock-ups. And fact that there's no release date, the fact that this is a new developer, the fact that there's no gameplay leads me to believe we probably won't see this year, but I could be wrong. I have no inside information. It's definitely something I'm going to sort of add to my wish list and keep an eye on, and we'll go from there. But let me know your thoughts down below. I certainly want to hear them, and I guess that's all I have for you today, guys. With that being said, I will probably be live streaming tonight if you're interested. Attack at Dawn, which I played the demo of, is a new World War II operational war game that takes place in North Africa. The game just announced its release date is going to be June 7th, so just a couple of weeks away. And I got a press key, so I'm going to go ahead and probably stream it tonight. We'll probably start a campaign and see how things go. But if you're interested, that'll be on my Twitch channel. There's a link in the description. And leave me your thoughts here on Radio Commander Pacific, or I guess Pacific Campaign. Until next time, though, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye.